Okay, we're looking at practice activity 4, question 1, and we're comparing the variability of class A and class B in terms of their attitudes towards migration. And we're being asked for the range, the interquartile range, and the standard deviation. And to get the standard deviation, we'll be working out the variance. And let's get to it. So I brought these values into Excel. So there's class A, and there's class B. And the range, which is here, is going to be the largest value. And you've noticed, by the way, I've sorted these from lowest to highest, which is important for anything dealing with the range or the median, well, the interquartile range, and so forth. So the range is going to be the highest value minus the lowest value, which for class A is B7 minus B2. So you see the formula there is equal to B7 minus B2. And for class B, it correspondingly F7 minus F2, right? Because we're in the F column for class B. So that's our range. You've noticed I've got the mean here, which is going to be the average, and that is equal to the average of B2 to B7, which is the same as the sum divided by the number of cases. Uh, the median, that's the middle value. We have 6, so the middle value is going to be the average of the two middle ones. So for class A, that's the average of 1 and 2, so that's 1.5. And for class B, it's the average of 2 and 3, so that's going to be 2.5. All right. So to get the interquartile range, we need to subtract Q1 from Q3. So halfway between the median and the highest value is Q3. So that works out here to 4 for class A rather, and similarly 4 for class B. And then Q1 is going to be between the median and the lowest value of 1. So Q1 is going to be 1 and 2 respectively. So interquartile range going to be B6 minus B3 for class A, and correspondingly for class B, it's going to be F6 minus F3, right? Because that's our Q3 and our Q1. So our variance, to get that, we have to first do a few things. One is we've got to get our deviations, which we have calculated before. So that is simply going to be these values subtracting the mean. All right, the mean is 2.5. So the deviation here is going to be 1 minus 2.5. You can see I've got B9 in, which is the cell with that value. So the deviation here is B2 minus B9, B3 minus B9, B4 minus B9, etc. And then over there for class B, we've got the same kind of thing going on. The mean for that one is shown in F9. So it's going to be this value, which is F2, F2 minus F9, 1 minus 2.67 rather, minus 1.67. All right, so once we have our deviations worked out for all of the values, like we do here, we then need to take the squared deviation. All right, that's the next step to getting to the variance. All right, so that's just going to be this value squared. So the formula for that is for this one equal to C2. And then to square something, we need this caret sign, which is found on your keyboard if you hit Shift and the number 6 on a standard keyboard. And then the number 2 means we're squaring it. All right, we do that for each of the values going down. And we do the same thing over here. We're squaring cell G2, right? G3, G4, and so on. So the variance is going to be the average of the squared deviations. It's the mean of the squared deviations. So that's down here. So you see I've got the average of D2 down to D8. It should be D7. Let's just switch that. Since D8 is empty, it doesn't make any difference really, but there we go. And for this one, it's going to be the average of H 2 down to H7. Okay, and then our standard deviation is just going to be the square root of the variance. So if we type equals the square root, SQRT, in this case of cell B13, which is our variance, that'll give us our standard deviation. And over here, the square root of cell F13, right? So the square root in parentheses F13, and that's our standard deviation for class B. So when you compare these, the standard deviation is larger for class A than it is for class B. The interquartile range is larger, 3 versus 2. And the range is larger, 5 versus 3. So on all three of those measures of variability, class A has more of it. All right, thank you.